Small spaces, you got to be intentional, you got to know the rules, and you want to maximize the space that you got.
A lot of homeowners don't know where to start. Always start with your pool first. Start with your foundation first, and then you're gonna build around that and create something beautiful around it. That's on me to be the designer and create something really, really neat and unique for that homeowner. Smaller backyards, turf is a great option. Can't put a rectangle in a triangle.
All right, welcome back to the Denali Deep Dive Podcast.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Happy to be here.
When I sat down, I was like, man, this is as comfortable as I've been in one of these podcasts. These chairs are great.
I know. I knew it was the perfect setup. My client was like, yeah, just help yourself. And I said, perfect. She has good style.
She has comfortable chairs for sure.
She does.
Good style and comfortable chairs. Well, welcome. Let's get started. Wanted to talk to you a little bit, or let everybody hear a little bit behind the scenes. Tell me a little bit about why you're here with us, how you came to be here.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story, but I'll keep it short. I was actually in the pool industry previously before Denali, and I did marketing. I did a lot of the back.
Okay.
You don't really see me, unless you did like material selections.
Yeah.
But I did all the permitting. I did the material selections. I did all of that kind of stuff. So just managing. And my husband was in the pool industry, and he used to sell. And long story short, we really wanted to do a change and pivot. We were in Houston at the time, and Denali was the one that we wanted to work with.
Cool.
We saw the product. We saw the company. They were the ones that if we ever lost, it was to Denali. And so I knew, and my husband knew, that that was the place we wanted to be. So reached out, and here I am, and you can't get rid of me unless you have to. I'm not going anywhere.
even like, so you were in the Austin area for what, 2 or 3 years? 3 years plus maybe.
Yeah, before we moved to Houston. So I worked for that company in Georgetown, actually. So I'm very familiar with the Austin area, but we did a slight move to Houston, wanting to be closer to family, realized we saw family just as much as we did here, if not more here. So when we wanted to make the move back, Denali was definitely the choice.
Cool.
And what we wanted to do.
Now, instead of working in the Central Texas office, y'all are working with the San Antonio office.
Yeah, I guess I just want to be experienced in every terrain and everything.
That's
so
great. Yeah.
We moved on there.
That'll kind of lead us into what we're talking about. You get into these super urban spaces, and a lot of time you end up with, I mean, this is a gorgeous home.
Yes.
Projects where coming into older neighborhoods and they're wiping out complete homes, old, that have been here since the 50s, 60s, 70s, and building new projects, typically a lot bigger home. So this is a relatively large home, 2-story, with a separate garage, standalone. So we're in this space that we want to make into a usable space. So we'll talk about little backyards today, right? Yeah. And I've seen you do a few of these and do them really, really well. So wanted to pick your brain today. What do you do where, one, you're limited on how much you can cover with concrete?
Right.
You've got a small space, number 2, and 3, you got a lot of cool stuff you want to pack into it. So I guess we'll start with, how do you maximize? Like, what do you do when you come into a backyard like this? How do you look at it and say, I'm going to maximize this space by doing X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, depending on where you're at, as a designer, you have to do a lot of due diligence from the front or the back end. So once I find that out, we want to maximize. Once I understand that, then I'm really going to ask a lot of questions for the client. A lot of homeowners don't know where to start. They're like, do I start with the pool first, or do I do the landscaping first? I don't know. And fair enough. You've never done this before, or maybe you have. I would say always start with your pool first. Start with your foundation first, and then you're going to build around that and create something beautiful around it. So really depends on how they want to maximize the space, whether they want more organic feel and greenery, or they want more pool. If you want more pool, let's look at that. Let's get creative and Let's build you something beautiful. And depending on what all we can do, that's on me to be the designer and create something really, really neat and unique for that homeowner.
So that's a great point. I feel like this yard is a really good mix of keeping things green,
Yeah.
and maximizing entertaining areas. So we're sitting here, we're sitting in two like nice chairs. There's 3 chases right here.
hmm
You were able to fit a full-size spa, a small tanning ledge, and a swimming pool, and have the area around. You have to do your homework ahead of time. Not everywhere is like
Right.
that, but more and more we're seeing more restrictions on what you can cover with what they call impervious, right? So hard stuff that doesn't soak up water. But they do count the coping and the tile
Yes.
and those kind of things that are exposed to the top. So here, let's talk about what they did to combat covering this up with concrete and making more impervious coverage that, quite honestly, if I remember right, this one was super tight.
It was very tight. When we got into it, obviously they have power lines that are above, and you have to be 10 feet away with with water for safety. So there was quite a bit of restrictions here. Obviously, we're in between a house and a garage where we're putting the pool. They have impervious. They have a beautiful home, but it is large, so it takes up most of the property, and
Yeah.
they have a lot of hardscape. So when I was doing my homework, I think I did the math probably 50 times to make sure. And even with the spa inside, they don't count the spillover because
Yeah.
it's within the actual pool, and that's why we put it in the pool. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to have the spa.
Yeah, so if you bumped that out, right? One, it's a space thing. Two, you're increasing your perimeter, so you're
You're
just burning up more
you're
space.
burning it up. And then you have skimmers that are gonna, little things, little bitty things that will count against it. And, they're gonna come and check it. They're gonna make you get a form survey at the end and make sure that you're within that impervious. So they also didn't want a concrete jungle back here because it is such a small space and you have this large concrete pool.
Yeah.
So they really wanted to separate that. And I agreed with them. I was like, if you do a lot of concrete, not that you can, but if you ended up being able to, it's going to feel just kind of plain.
Yeah.
And so they, decided to do turf. We designed that within the space, made it very organic, still did some planters, some pavers, things like that. So that way they got the full vision, and that's kind of how we came up with this. So I would say with smaller backyards, turf is a great option to kind
Yeah.
of break that space up.
And when you run into impervious issues, there's a few things you can do to combat that and still give you a solid surface. You can do synthetic, right? Pervious pavers.
Right.
Like they're made out of concrete, but water can soak through them. And then also with the base that's underneath them, water can soak through it. So we can get
Yes.
around some of those
Yes.
things. And so we keep saying this word pervious and impervious. What the
Yes.
heck does that mean?
It
right?
is such a popular word that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
And it's so important to know. So I will keep it very simple. You have hardscape, which is like the foundation concrete, essentially, on your property, right? Depending on where you're at and what you're allowed, you can only have so much concrete
Okay.
or things that water cannot seep through
Right.
that will count against you. So for example, this one they were allowed 45%
Of the total area of the lot.
of the total area of the lot.
Okay.
So whatever was left over, which wasn't a lot, was what they could do with the pool. So it's really good to know. It's good to ask. And if you are reaching out to a pool builder, they should be bringing that up.
Yeah.
They should be doing their research and doing their due diligence before they even come out. Sometimes we get busy and maybe we haven't, but at least been brought up and know, hey, this is how much we have left
Yeah.
over. So you don't get into a design that you love
And you
and
can't
then
build.
You can't build
Yeah.
it.
So pervious, water can get through it. AstroTurf, pervious pavers, landscaping, grass.
Correct.
And then impervious, concrete, natural stone, anything that water hits and runs
Yep.
off.
And
Okay.
we have ChatGPT now, so if you really want to get in the gritty of it, you
Yeah.
can.
Okay, so the other thing I like about this design is that they took their finishes, their turf, like right up to the fence,
Yeah.
to where you can't see where there's a noticeable break there in the materials. Just maximizing every single inch that you've got.
Yes.
And I think something too that's important is intentionality. Like you want to be intentional with what you put in the space. They've got so something really simple, but something really awesome. So you can step down on the other side of the pool, but we put these trellises up for vines to grow up to give you a little bit more greenery, something nice to look at. In the space it takes up is all of, 2.5 inches wide,
Right.
but you get this big, feature on the side of what would be the garage now that looks like landscaping,
Yep.
but you don't have a lot of room here to have vertical plants,
Correct.
landscaping.
Yeah.
But you got this great, creeper that's crawling up the side of the building with some, rustic looking steel and panels. So
Right.
it's a really nice look. This is not the first one you've done in little backyards. You've
Yep.
actually got one right across the street.
Right across.
And then I think we've shot another one where you did, I thought that one was really cool too. It was not only was it a small space,
It was an odd
it was an
shape.
odd shaped small space. Tell us a little bit about when you have two of those challenges at the same time.
Yeah. So you really got to get creative.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of options, and the client is looking to you to really create something beautiful with how awkward of a side yard this person had. So he had a side yard, nice yard. It was still small, but it was triangle.
It was a triangle
It
shaped
was
yard.
a triangle shaped yard. So ultimately, a lot of people right now are wanting to go modern, geometric, no problem. Well, can't put a rectangle in a triangle.
Doesn't fit very well.
Doesn't
anyway.
fit right. So honestly, I just went with the yard. I went with the linear, fence, and made sure it was functional and made sure it made sense. And he loved it. I mean, we put some fire bowls on it. He was in love with it. We did a really cool spa. Just got really creative with it. And like I said, you don't have a lot of options, but once you do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you kind of get used to it.
And you need somebody that has some experience. Better have somebody, one, that knows the rules, two, that's been there before, and three, knows how to maximize the space. Maybe we'll get a little chance to snip some of that in to this one, because I remember that one had like some raised beams. It had either water features, fire features, and when in this little bitty space, you end up with all this cool stuff.
We also did not have gas, and he wanted a spa. So we had to figure out a way to get a propane tank in his backyard and make sure that it was code, to make sure it's far enough away from the pool beam. It was safe. So that was interesting as well. So we made it work, and it turned out beautiful. It was a little difficult, don't get me wrong, but it was a challenge, and it was fun.
Well, cool. Hopefully we'll get to see a little shot of that one before we get out of here. But so small spaces, you got to be intentional. You got to know the rules, and you want to maximize the space that you got. Know what impervious coverage is and what the limits are if you're within a jurisdiction.
If you're not in the city, amazing.
Man, fill it up wall to wall.
The world is your oyster at that point.
Well, you've done a good job. You've done a great job on these little small backyards with maximizing, the cool place. And I know that these clients are over the moon with the finished product. So that's what we're after, right? Let's
absolutely.
give them something they love and give them a place to come out and sit in these comfortable chairs and enjoy
You can't beat
the
it.
afternoon.
We just need a lemonade, and then that would seal the deal.
That's it. Well, thanks, Whit. Appreciate you being here with us. Hey, guys. Say it every time, but I'll say it again. If you like what we're doing here, you enjoy hearing from people like Whitney on how to improve what you're able to do in your backyard, or just gain some knowledge. Follow us on our socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe to what we're doing, and we'll bring you more content every week. Thanks again.